Hello everyone. This is just a follow-up video to my video down to the abandoned Pennsylvania Turnpike. I just had such a great time on that trip. I really wanted to have a little video with pictures that we had taken, incorporating a little bit of the video just to kind of give you an idea, you know, of our trip down there, because the video, some of it just didn't really turn out that great in parts of the tunnel, and I just really didn't get a lot of description put in with the video about some of the details, or even the hotel that we had stayed at, which was a great location on the Turnpike. So here we go. I'll just give you a little slideshow with some of the video. Anyways, this map I kind of made up here. It's kind of a rudimentary map, zoomed in pretty close, but you can tell on the where the green star is, that's Breezewood. That's where we stayed. That's where we stay close to the start of the western end of the Turnpike. The red dashed line is the old route, and the yellow lines are the tunnels. The first one to the left on the western side is Laurel Hill Tunnel, the shortest one of the Turnpike, and the one more to the north is Sidling Hill Tunnel, the longest of them all. As well as you can see that blue star, that's the location of the old Cove Valley Service Center Plaza. That is also abandoned there, and then it continues to join back on to where the Turnpike is now, the new bypass. And this next picture, I just kind of took it at the one service center there, just to kind of show you around milepost 95 or so, before Somerset, after interchange 91, you can still see where Laurel Hill Tunnel was, that was bypassed back in about 64, I believe, 4 years before the bypass was made in Breezewood. You can kind of still see it if you're looking carefully from the Turnpike. Around 95 to 100, you can see where the old Laurel Hill tunnel is. Now, from what I understand, it's being used by a race car team or something as, you know, wind tunnel testing or whatever, but you can't get to it without permission, I guess. I don't know. It's being used. Anyways, yeah, after that, you do go through one tunnel if you're approaching from the west, the Allegheny Tunnel. There was only one of these tunnels back in the 60s. This is one of the ones that they had built another tube. They twinned it instead of bypassing this one. And that was just kind of a look at that tunnel. This is the hotel we stayed at, the Quality Inn, right on Lincoln Highway, US 30, at the far east of town. And it was just a great location. You know, the service was excellent. The continental breakfast included was just top notch. I can't say enough good things about this place, and it's within a minute biking of the foot to the Turnpike, the abandoned section. And once you get out on US 30, this is right behind the hotel. There's the church there, the cemetery, and then once you go down this little hill, you're right there. You're at the footpath up to the Turnpike. You can already kind of see it off in the distance in the video, but it's right there. And if I were to go back, I would definitely recommend staying at this place. You know, like I said, they had a great breakfast included. Rates are reasonable, rooms are clean, top-notch place. You know, it was biscuits and gravy, sausage gravy for breakfast. They had one of those waffle maker things there. Just a great spread. And this here, you can see Tannery Road as it runs to the left, and this is US 30, the main highway there, Lincoln Highway. And on the right, there was an overpass here. I believe in 02 they had tore that down, and this is the footpath up to the Turnpike. That was just a sign at the footpath there, you know, pike to bike, helmets and lights recommended. Just be safe. You know, there's nobody monitoring it, so just have an eye and be safe. This was right at the top of the hill. this is what you see. And once you get biking about a mile, you come to Mountain Chapel Road. This is the overpass here. We stopped here and took a few pictures. This first mile or so of the abandoned turnpike is in pretty rough shape. It's really overgrown. But from then on, it's pretty nice. You know, you can see Rays Hill Tunnel here. This is looks like the eastern portal of it. It has no vent on top. I don't know why this picture's here, but this is after you go through it from Breezewood. That's the view you see. But that's the view that you see when you first come past Mountain Chapel Road from Breezewood. The tunnel's off in the distance. It's pretty overgrown here too. They must have repaved part of this section here, because we noticed the lanes were really small. I don't know if they were just doing some asphalt laying testing or what was going on there, but you can see some of the reflective strips they had laid down just to see which ones were good, I guess. And that's just the view from Mountain Chapel Road, the overpass. There was a cow farm there. The sand, the dirt was really red there, I noticed. It was just a really red. When it got wet, it was like a, I don't know, just like a really dark red, deep red color to it. Got all over your tires and everything, and you can kind of see it there too. But anyways, we just stopped there, got a couple pictures, had a quick break. Then we were right off on down towards Rays Hill. This is the western facing portal of Rays Hill Tunnel, looking towards Breezewood. And yes, it's just getting up to it. These things are just massive in person, you know. Looking at the pictures and video, it doesn't do justice for how big these things really are. It's just incredible. It's just another picture of us cruising along to Rays. This is just standing in the mouth. You can see the other end on this one. I think it's about 3,200 feet long, somewhere around there. It's a shame that graffiti is so bad. Some of these tunnels is just covered pretty bad with the graffiti. Like this picture here, you can just see it's pretty bad. And these are some more pictures. Get a couple group photos. It's just a group of 4 of us. If you watch my other video, you know, it kind of gives you a tour along our whole day. We spent about 8 or 9 hours out there. And this is at the front there. There was like a double door. That must have been for, you know, backing trucks in with coal or whatever to unload them here. This is looking in the window. This was the only door on any of the tunnels that was not open. You know, the steel, someone must have put steel over them, but it was bent open, and you can get in there. We just hopped over and hopped in there for a little tour. It's pretty trashed, you know. A lot of damage in here from people that have come and gone over the years. And here you can see the top left, that's the coal door. They must have just tossed it in there when they're unloading. That boiler room to the left, the door that's open, there must have been a boiler in there for a heating system, and maybe to run some of the equipment. I'm not 100% sure about that. That's where the boiler would have sat there. That's the coal door right behind. If you turn around from that boiler, that's the coal door, the coal hopper. There's a lot of coal left behind still in there. Yeah, just some more graffiti in the rooms. This is the ventilation tunnel above the tunnel. If you go up in the Rays Hill Tunnel or even Sidling, this is the view above the tunnel. I know in the videos it didn't turn out that great. That's why I thought I'd throw some pictures in there, just to kind of show what the tunnel above the tunnel looks like. You can even see the tracks on the ground. There must have been some workers' carts that rolled along there. I don't know, maybe to replace some of the overhead lighting back in the day. They could scoot along there and, you know, bring the equipment and tools with them as they went. It's just another shot of down the ventilation tunnel there. This is just looking out, must have been the air intakes above the large turbines overlooking the roadway below. These are the large air turbines that blew the fresh air down the tunnel above the roadway, you know, just to keep the emissions low in the tunnel. That's just looking down from over top of the ventilation room there, down the roadway where the lanes converge together. And when we left the upper ventilation room, we just hopped over into this pit. I don't know exactly what this pit was for, but there's a pit right there with an access ladder. I don't know if they stored something down there at one time or what the deal was with this, but this is that pit that we climbed out. Then we just kind of climbed down the hill on the side and continued on. It's just the roadway, you know, leading up to the Laurel Hill tunnel, just looking back at the way we had came. This is what it's like when you're going into the tunnel. It's really good shape on the inside of the tunnels. This portion didn't have a lot, it must have been close to the middle. A lot of graffiti, but it's actually in fairly good shape, the inside the tunnel. And the roadway, you can still see the paint and everything in there. Road lines. Now this is the other end, the western, or the eastern end of the Laurel Hill tunnel. This is where they had filmed the location for the Road movie. This is the actual, you know, where the cannibals drive out of the tunnel. This is where it happened here. It's just an open pit. You got to be careful out here. There's a lot of open spots that are still open. You can even see the other end through the tunnel in this picture here. We did go out at night, the night we arrived here, and we biked from the hotel to this end of the tunnel. And you got to keep your eyes open. I ran over a patch of glass and I popped one of my tires, but luckily I had brought a spare tube and a pump with me, so I definitely recommend bringing a spare tube and pump with you if you do go on this trip. It's well worth it. That's just heading away towards Sidling. It's about a 5-mile trip from Rays down to Sidling. Mostly downhill. It was a really easy pedal heading to Sidling. And the roadway got just better condition as we went. It was just a great day. You know, middle to late October, the colors were great. Weather was perfect for biking. You can even still see some of the original road paint here too, the center stripes. The edges are starting to grow in pretty thick with the foliage, and get pretty bad that way. Now this is the next overpass before Sidling, Oregon Road, and we stopped here for a quick break too before we went on to Sidling. So that's Oregon Road there. I'm really hoping you don't take these overpasses down anytime soon, or else it's just going to be a pain in the neck, you know, if you want to continuously bike this section of abandoned Turnpike. Just another look at the overpass. That's looking back towards Breezewood and Laurel Hill Tunnel. It was actually a really busy day. People at the hotel said it wasn't a busy time of the year for the Turnpike, you know, for bikers, but we found a lot of people out there for a ride. Now we didn't mind. Everybody just kind of kept to themselves and having a good time. Now this is arriving at Sidling Hill Tunnel. The graffiti was just as bad as the others, if not worse. It's in pretty bad shape. The doors were all open though in this one, so we walked right in here. A lot of garbage and graffiti left behind though. It's just a shame that people could keep care of a little bit more. This is the same kind of setup. You can see the upper door on the left was where they must have, you know, put the coal in the coal hopper, and that's the boiler room in there. In Sidling, both ends, the stairs. This was the side that we could actually walk up in, and it was pretty iffy. But the bottom section, there must be a lot of water coming in here certain times of the year, but it's pretty rotted out. But we still made it up. We took our risk and we went just fine, so This was, again, looking down into the ventilation tunnel above the tunnel at Sidling. You can walk down either side, leads you into the tunnel above the tunnel. So this is the tunnel above the tunnel at Sidling. Again, there's a track here too for carts or whatever, and I guess we never walked the whole thing here, but I guess if you walk in the middle, the halfway point, there's a brick wall with an access hatch. I've seen a couple videos where they've walked through it, but it increasingly gets lower and lower as you get to the center, and once you cross over that center wall, it increasingly gets bigger towards the other end again. This is looking back towards the ventilation fans. There was two giant steel doors here that were suspended like kind of like a garage door. I assume that, you know, depending on how much air was required, they would open to allow the airflow in. This one was partially open. You can kind of see the bottom there. You could climb out. You could probably fit underneath that. But there was cables suspended it like a kind of a garage door setup. And that's inside one of the turbines. You can see the cables holding that door open slightly. That was like a foot, maybe 18 inches, something like that. Just more pictures kind of showing the graffiti and damage in this place. Now, I'm assuming there was a large motor that sat on top of this green platform and turned, you know, the big fans. I kind of hopped up inside one and got it going with my feet inside it, just carefully kind of get it turning. And they do still turn fairly easily. I was kind of surprised for being, you know, out of service for so long. This is the ventilation fans again over here at the Sidling Hill tunnel. Pretty well the same as the other end of Ray's. There was a door open on this one that you could walk up just to the out back behind it. Same kind of thing too with the pit there. This is just looking back down the roadway from above. It doesn't look that high when you're down there, but when you get up there, it's pretty high up. You got to be careful. Some of the better artwork, I guess if you could call it, at the Turnpike. Not really much into the graffiti, but better than most. This is just a shot of stairs. Pretty iffy shape. You cannot see the other end of the tunnel in this one, in Sidling. You can see kind of a reflection in the middle, because both tunnels have a crown slightly in the center so the water can run out, but you can kind of see the reflection of the other end off the ceiling in this tunnel, but you cannot see the actual other end of it. We're just having a quick break before heading to the tunnel. And as you can see, it was really dark in this one. If you want to see dark, go in the center of Sidling Hill Tunnel. Just shut off your lights. It is absolutely dark. This is standing in the middle, looking one way and looking the other. That's what it looks like from the center. Just a dot at each end and complete blackness. We stopped here and kind of took a few pictures of each other. It was really a great trip, and it was really worth the drive down. It took us about 7 or 8 hours, but I really had a good time, and I'd go back in a second. I found a creature in the one boiler room pit, but again on this end there was a lot of coal still left behind. And this is at the eastern end. Once you go through the tunnel towards the Cove Valley, back towards the east, there was a lot of water in this end on the ground, but there was some blocks thrown down, so there was kind of a pathway that you could step across, but these stairs were completely gone here. Someone had thrown a plank from the second floor down to the first landing there, but I wasn't risking it. I didn't try that to go up there. taking a break here again. This is just looking back from where we had came from. Again, there's a lot of open pits and things. You know, you got to be very careful, especially if you're out here at night. It's a really cool thing to do, to go out here at night to check it out. It's just once in a lifetime opportunity to see this, but you gotta have an eye and bring a flashlight. Like, you don't want to fall in one of these pits. They're not covered, you know, they're just open. Just some more of the assorted graffiti and painting that's been done here over the years. The eastern end as well, into the tunnel, some of the concrete has come off. You can see the exposed rebar behind it. It was probably in the worst condition of all the tunnels, the eastern portal of Sidling. Just a couple more group photos looking at the tunnel. We did walk up around behind it. I wasn't going to take a chance and try to walk the plank, so we did just walk up the hill, and we did find an abandoned tent on the abandoned turnpike up behind Sidling Hill. It was left behind there. Had a big rip in it, somebody must have just left it behind. Again, this is at another pit. You know, the other end, they're all the same. View from above of these ones were open on top, the ventilation fans. I don't know if they'd taken the plating off for some reason to get something out, or I'm not sure why these were open like that. Now, I've seen in a couple videos too where the water is coming down. It's like a waterfall they had made here. Again, this is just the back. And this is the other end, the eastern end, the tunnel above the tunnel. It's more or less the same as the other end. Just, you know, there's some more open holes here. These were light fixtures would have been. There's also ventilation holes, long, square, narrow ones, where the airflow would have came out. Again, there was a track here too for you know, ferrying tools and people down. These are the doors. These ones actually had the actual doors on them still to get into the air tunnel over the roadway. This is one of the light holes where the fixtures would have been looking down into the main roadway below. Just another shot looking down at the main road below in the tunnel. This is coming back out of the ventilation tunnel, back up into where the big turbines were sitting. And yeah, there was a real drainage problem on this end, and it was just a muddy mess. A lot of water, a lot of mud, a lot of rotting going on. Pretty bad shape. Just some more photos at the eastern end. Again, this is the plank. I was gonna try to walk down it, but I didn't want to take a chance of, you know, falling off there and getting injured in the middle of nowhere. This is getting ready to go east more towards the Cove Valley. This is on the way there. Now this is where the old Cove Valley Plaza was at one time. Howard Johnson was here. It only served the westbound lanes. There was no access from the east side there. The parking lot was in incredibly good shape still. Not much left of where the building is once sat, just a pile of brush there. You can kind of see it. The turnpike's on the right there. The parking lot's on the left. I guess the police had used this as a shooting range one time, a training area for military. This is continuing east to the end of the turnpike. This is reaching the end. That part, I guess, the Turnpike Commission still owns, and it runs east onto the newer bypass. This is looking back towards Cove Valley and Sidling. This is heading back towards Cove Valley, heading back towards Breezewood. Now, I noticed along the roadway, I don't know if this was part of the old grading of the original railroad back from the 1800s, the 1880s, but I did snap a couple pictures. It looked kind of interesting to me. It was just a perfectly graded piece of land beside the Turnpike. There were some trees growing on it, but I'm assuming this was part of the old right-of-way of the railroad. Well, that's self-explanatory. This is going back through the tunnel again, heading back towards Breezewood. Kind of lag behind there, grabbing a few pictures. It was pretty spooky. Now, heading back towards Breezewood was a whole other story. It seemed to be more of an uphill grade back towards Laurel Hill tunnel. It was a lot more strenuous than heading eastbound, that's for sure. But it was pretty well uphill the whole way back. But it really was a great day for riding. This was above Laurel Hill tunnel. There was not much up there. There's no ventilation shafts on this end where the movie The Road was filmed. I just kind of wanted to take a look up there to see what this was all about. This is from above the tunnel, and I just kind of stood on that concrete ledge carefully, took a few pictures, looking back towards Sidling Hill before we went back through Rays to Breezewood. And that was just looking down at the rest of the crew. Now we're almost at the end here, and kind of the last few memories of the trip, and we went back through the tunnel towards Breezewood. The day went by fast, and we had a really great time. I definitely recommend, if you like this kind of thing, to definitely go give it a shot before it gets into worse shape, or they decide to take a couple of those overpasses out, because it's just a great stretch of road to explore. That's just Sidling Hill at the new Sidling Hill Plaza. This is just looking at Sidling Hill itself. And that pretty well wraps up the slideshow. I hope you enjoyed it. I definitely hope I get to have the chance to go back again.